Hello, this is your professor, Dr. Eric Mortensen. Just kind of pop in with a few comments. Just in general, remember I didn't put a due date on the first couple assignments because we were kind of rough start and everyone had to get the book and things like that. But remember, so each week the idea is that you will have your discussion board post by Wednesday, um, and then your two replies by Sunday. So that's every week, due by the end of the week, and then you'll have an assignment each week, right? So that'll be due by Sunday night as well. So just try to. It's okay if you get a little bit behind, but try to kind of stay on target because we're moving into what I think week 4. Things start moving really quickly. You do not want to go back, you know. Um, 5 weeks around trying to do like 10 assignments is ridiculous, and I also don't want to honestly, I don't want to grade somebody who's just kind of did all their assignments in one night. It makes the whole point of the class is that you're kind of reading the material, thinking about it, and then engaging. And obviously with the discussion, it doesn't work at all if you go back when everyone stopped talking about the book. So please try to keep up. And if you have any questions, let me know. Or if you need more time, that's fine too. Just send me an email saying, hey, I'm a little bit behind this week, whatever, and that's fine. I can work with that. Um, I'm enjoying everybody's work. It's good. I couple comments, I guess, in general. Try, as much as possible, try to use, examples. I've mentioned this in some of my comments, my response comments. Try to use examples when you can. I'm not saying you have to do it all the time, but it helps, when you're kind of explaining yourself. You can, especially we're reading literature, right? So, you have this document in front of you. It's, when you make a claim or a point about a work, it might make sense to give the reader an example or two to help out. And that's really helpful for your making your argument, helping the reader understand what you're trying to say, and practice for using your textual analysis, doing textual analysis. Okay, so what else? The Douglas assignment, where I asked you to kind of look at a song, I thought everyone did pretty well on that. Again, it was the tension, right? I think most of you got this. It's the tension between the words of the song and the sound of the song, right? And that's kind of I think what really triggers Douglas more than anything else is not just that people are singing, they're upset, they're slaves, they're obviously upset, they're not very happy with the situation. It's that, but it's not just that. It's that the way that they communicate that is really haunting, right? It's because they can't just, hey, I hate this job, like obviously, they can't just say that because they're going to get it, physically beaten, right? So what do? They code it, right? They encode this message in a kind of a strange way, and I think that really gets Douglas. And then the examples I gave, there's a million of these examples. I mean, this runs throughout African American music. But I the idea was to kind of connect that idea that Douglas is having, and just to show that that's still there, right? That these kind of oftentimes these, not always, but oftentimes these powerful songs rely on the same kind of tension between the meaning and the tone, right? That's what kind of makes them particularly haunting and vivid, I think, and that's kind of what we're looking for. The Douglas and Equiano comparison, I think a lot of people kind of they were all very good. I think this idea that the big difference is Douglas is he's born into slavery, right? He doesn't know anything else, and he's sort of really trapped, right? I mean, you get this sense from the beginning that's just so depressing about the story that it's hard to imagine escaping from this world, right? I mean, the slave owners control everything down to the minute details, right? And he really has no outlet and no way to kind of get out. Whereas Equiano has a slightly different take because he was born free. He was born in Africa, and then he becomes a slave, but he kind of knows what it's like to not be a slave. And as many of you mentioned, he has some kind of outlets, right? He can kind of barter. He can kind of he buys himself free, right? So it's hard to imagine, in the North America model, right? I mean, there's not much incentive for the average slave owner to have his or her slave buy themselves free. That's the horrible part, right? There's slaves. I mean, that's what keeps the whole thing in business is that they're property, and so they don't really. There's no hope. There's very little hope, right? With Equiano, you feel that there actually is some hope. And many of you, mentioned that how they're obviously both anti-slavery. There's no doubt about it. But Douglas's tone is very different. They're both kind of ultimately going for sort of the same the same thing as to abolish slavery and kind of alert people to the horrors of it, but it's a bit of a different tone, right? So that's something to think about. Um, yeah, so I'm looking forward to what else you have to say. I hope the readings are good. I know a lot of you mentioned in your getting acquainted post, like you wanted to look about upbeat, tired of maybe, like this focus on the negativity, which I understand. Just be aware that we did some slave narratives. We're kind of laying that foundation, but we're going to be moving on to do other things. And I think these works are also inspiring, even though obviously the content is kind of depressing. But I mean, Douglas's reaction is quite, and to me, uplifting. Right? He escapes. He learns. He struggles, and he kind of reclaims himself as a person, as a real person, and authentic person, and breaks free, and it's great. But I understand that. So hopefully, we'll be doing some stuff later that if you're not liking these, hopefully we'll be moving on to something else, right? That's my point. I also encourage you to read the short bios at the beginning of the work. I mean, I make some links, and I'll try to kind of put some links in to background material. I just feel with the internet, with wiki pages and things, and maybe with some of these well-known figures, you've probably had them before. It's not too hard to find information on Frederick Douglass. There's a lot of it, but I will, going forward, try to find links here and there, and I'll put them with the reading section, so you can kind of get some background as well. But I advise you, the Norton does a good job of giving you kind of that context. So I would advise you. I'm not forcing you to, but I would advise you to kind of read it. They're only a couple page introductions. Okay, well, that's probably enough for now. I just wanted to sort of say hello, see how everybody's doing, encourage everybody to kind of keep going. If you haven't been doing any work, some of you haven't, I don't know what's going on. If you might want to make a decision soon. If the class isn't for you, you might want to drop, because some of you I haven't gotten anything from at all. So just try to figure out what's going on. Hope you like the course. If you have comments or suggestions, I mean, I'm open. Just send me some stuff. Send me an email. We can talk about it. I try to check the announcements. I announce. I'm talking about the course, but I'm also trying. I sent something on a movie review. These are just things that might be of interest to you. So hopefully you'll find get some use out of them. Otherwise, look forward to the rest of your work, and yeah, hope things are going well. Stay safe.